Hello and welcome to Step 3 Consulting's Friday podcast. So excited for you to be here and so excited for what we've got coming ahead. Blake Landry from RE/MAX Alliance is here. So let's get started. Thank you and welcome to everyone watching us live on this Friday during your lunchtime, and welcome to those of you who are watching it on the replay. If you're live, let us know. Let us know in the comments that you are here. Before we get started with my guests, I want to talk about a couple of things going on in the city. Tonight down at the wine cellar, they've got live music, wine tasting, $5 glasses of wine. So if you're out on Whitesburg down that way, check them out. Also, if you are in the mood for speed, as they say, they are having Guntersville Lake Hydro Fest this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Some of that is sponsored by my friends over at Special Touch Restoration, and you can go to explorelakeguntersville.com to get tickets and enjoy that all day Saturday and Sunday. It's supposed to be a lot of fun. So go and enjoy that this weekend. Lots of good things to do. So let's talk about our guest today. If you have been wondering about selling your house, maybe buying a house, then this is definitely a show and time for you. Let's talk about my good friend, Blake Landry. He is a member of the KeyFINDERS group. He is their team lead over at RE/MAX Alliance. He started his real estate career 18 years ago in 2005. He's won many, many awards for all kinds of things, from volume to team production to cultural awards, just being the nice guy in the office. I can tell you that back when I started in 2008, we became fast friends, and he's been a mentor, coach, and a great person to be around for a long time for me. I love what his philosophy. He believes that to flourish and thrive within our own passions, we must continuously invest in others. And excuse me, I think that's very true of him. He has been on many councils. He's educated people. He's worked here in our community so much through alliances and the Leadership Council. He's been active in many organizations, not only to help himself, but help others, with the Downtown Rescue Mission, Thrive, Christmas Charities, American Cancer Society, Children's Miracle Network, New Leash on Life. I don't know if he ever sleeps, to tell you the truth. He specializes in buyer's agency, seller's agency. He works with luxury homes, investor homes. He assists buyers, sellers, and all kinds of clients and global relocation. So without further ado, let's please give a healthy welcome to my good friend and realtor, Blake Landry.
Hey.
Hey.
After all of that, Cameron, I was still thinking about that $5 wine at the
I know. Have you been down there?
I have. They do a great job.
Oh my gosh. It is so much fun. It's like my place because it's just so chill. It's so nice. And Brandy's so nice. And I'm like, $5. Because you know me, I can only drink like a glass. Yeah. They helped me get a wedding gift together, and it was amazing because I don't know that much about it. And I'm like, they like this? And they helped me, and they put a beautiful board together. So awesome. Yeah. So I really like them and everything. And this weekend's a lot going on. So, Mr. Landry. What all I hear, I know, right there, concierge service right off the top. I love you. We've been friends so long. everyone says it's such a hot market. It's such a hot market right now. Real estate. I get to, I got delivered from real estate. That's why I tell people that God delivered me and that I'm not going back. People have no idea how much work it is.
It's
And
tough. It's tough. And this
and
market,
they,
you're right. I mean, it is hot in a sense that it's very busy, but that
yes,
comes with a lot of challenges for people, buyers, sellers, agents. I mean, from a seller's perspective, it it's nice in a sense that for the last several years, we've been able to get people top dollar. Top dollar.
yeah,
It's pretty simple for them. Buyers come along and they waive a lot of their contingencies that used to be stumbling blocks between contract and close. But right now they're not having to deal with that as much. So as a seller, it's a really good time. But then you turn around and you have to move somewhere. So then you jump into
yeah.
the competitive real estate market and you've got to fight for houses, you've got to compete with other people, and it's a tough world. So yes, it's busy, but the head count for the active agents within our board now is about 4,000. And so there's more active agents than ever before in my entire career. I think we're hitting record numbers from a board level on the local and state and national level. So with that comes a lot of steep competition. And if you've never had a client base, if you've never been in sales, it's a challenge. It's tough.
I remember back 2008, 2013, when I got to help sellers write a check. It was just
Yeah.
common that they
Yeah.
were writing about $10,000 was what I was seeing, hence the delivery, um, in checks to just sell their house. And I'm thinking 2,000 realtors about at the time, you
Probably.
know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what people forget is supply and demand. So you have a small supply. So
It's a real thing. Absolutely. I recall those days vividly. And that's when agents get in the business that have never had to work through that, they're not
uh,
going to know what to do without proper guidance when the market
yes,
shifts back, which it does. I mean, real estate is cyclical. It always has been, it always will be. And so our market now is great. But with that comes limited inventory. It's super competitive. From a buyer's perspective, because you touched on that, they're having to many times either waive appraisals or bring extra money to what we call bridge the gap between any shortfall that may come up. Because a lot of times, if you're offering, and it's happened in the last 12 months,
hmm
$30,000 over asking, then that house doesn't always appraise. And
yeah,
so to be the winning buyer, the the anatomy of a winning contract is is different than the ones that stack up and they lose 3 and 5 and 10 houses. You really do have to bridge that gap, remove risk, guarantee that the seller gets the face value of that contract, or at least knows that that buyer is willing to bring additional cash in the event that it doesn't appraise, which that happens a lot. And so it's just tough. It comes with a whole different set of challenges.
well, and really the whole appraisal process, it's what is something worth? Something is worth what someone will pay for it, right?
Yep, it's
But
market driven.
yeah, but the appraisal process is about actual sales. And it's funny, working in a market that's so fast that what people will pay for it has not caught up. They don't have that. That's all that is the data hasn't caught up with it yet. So if they don't have that data, they can't bring that to you. And, you know,
And
that,
we have some wonderful appraisers in our area, the greater Huntsville and North Alabama market. We've got great
mhm.
people. And we've got great people that are veterans that have been doing appraisals for 30 and
Oh,
40
yeah.
years sometimes. And they know what they're doing and they understand that, but their hands are sometimes tied.
Well,
You know,
you
if
can't
there
make
aren't
up
other comps
data.
to use, yeah, you don't have the data point as a reference. So it's
Yeah.
just hard.
And you will as it goes on, but you're in the midst of what can you tell buyers? What can you tell buyers that are out there right now? I'm thinking of a friend of mine in business who they were very happy in their rental, had been there for years, but the owners of that rental wanted to take advantage of the market or move someone in. And it's like, yeah. So all of a sudden they're like, we have to get a house. We need to get a house in this school district, and we have a short amount of time. So what's some of your tips and tricks for them in this?
But before you start, I mean, if you think of like a real estate transaction as a flow chart, the top of the page, the first thing you should do is get pre-approved. Talk to a lender.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that can be, a local lender is always our preference. Our team has some great, really wonderful local people that we've cultivated relationships with, and that matters. Thanks. There we are. That's the key.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the team is so important. When you brought that up, I'm like, oh, yes.
It's just important to hire a professional, and that's across the board. So that's making sure that you have a great local lender, somebody that's going to advise you on market trends, on interest rates. The interest rates it's a huge thing that we're talking about daily, because sure, the market's great, but then that interest rate determines your buying power. Your affordability on a monthly basis is driven primarily by the interest rate that you sign up for. And so whatever that lender can assign you, it matters. And you need to understand what that means on a monthly basis. And working with somebody local and a partner of ours just alleviates all that concern. It answers your questions, and it's something you should focus on. I mean, we've had a lot of clients that were pre-approved, let's say 90 days ago. And although their pre-approval has not expired, that rate has changed. And so when the interest rate has gone up a whole % since you first looked at numbers, it's going to affect your cash to close and your down payment, and your monthly interest rate is a huge factor to consider.
Yeah, it really does. And I know the feds have raised that rate just a little bit, trying to bring down our inflation. And at first you think, well, inflation's high. Now they're trying to bring interest rates up. But it does make sense when things are a little bit harder to buy. The idea is that then prices will come down to make things more affordable, and then to juggle that. I guess that's the economics behind that.
In our North Alabama market, I don't anticipate that to be the case. I mean, a lot of people have said, I'm going to wait for prices to come back down. And everything that's forecast doesn't paint that picture. I mean, we believe that the announcements and the contracts and the changes, the things that are happening in North Alabama are for the next 3, 5, 8 years. And so what's going to happen is that if people wait for 5 years to buy a house, what's your interest rate going to be? And so what exactly are you waiting on? Because right now, we are working with people today that said that 6 months ago, and now they regret that decision.
Yeah.
So it changes quickly.
It does. Well, and I think what I'm talking about is just goods and services. I'm with you. I don't think we're going to see that in housing, because we have so many industries coming in. I went to a event where the top person for the zoo and aquarium was there and talking about that. Have you heard?
A good friend of mine is on that zoo board, and we talk all the time. And there's just so many great things changing. And
I mean, the first zoo in 50 years, not here in the nation, to be built.
But so Huntsville has so many things like that happening.
I mean, it's like,
when you think of like Mid-City and developments like that, multi-use put together. Yeah, all of that stuff. I mean, it's a wonderful time to be here. It's exciting for me. I mean, we see so many changes just weekly, announcements and things that are coming up. And that's what protects us from that bubble, so to speak. I mean, we're definitely going through a boom. There's no arguing that.
Right.
But if you think of that as bubbles burst and booms just keep growing, at some point we've got to slow. And that's why the interest rates are higher. That's happening. That's going to slow overall progression of the real estate appreciation. But the people that are moving here, they still have to have a house over their head. They need a roof. They need a bedroom. They got to sleep somewhere. And so those people are still buying houses.
Oh,
What I
yeah.
think the higher interest rate is going to do is slow the willy-nilly just move around town type of real estate, because
Mm-hmm.
people are in their homes, they have a better interest rate than what they can get now. They have a house that works. We'll probably see more people renovate and add on to their houses rather than just move completely, because it's going to
Mm-hmm.
cost a lot of money to do so.
Well, and oh my gosh, construction. I mean, construction, renovation, stuff like that. I mean, they are working as hard and
Yeah,
fast
hard
and
to keep up.
new construction. You were telling me something as we were prepping for this that I thought was very interesting. That explain when people look at the data of houses on the market and how that number is not exactly what you think it is.
Yeah, well, so
Whoopsie.
data overall, that statistical data,
Like
there's always,
statistics, what do they say? Statistics are always, you can make them say anything.
in a way, I mean, people that put together those graphs manipulate the data to tell the story they want to tell. And so, yes, we have low inventory, but if the monthly data comes out from our board of realtors and it says we have 400 homes on the market, it
Mm-hmm.
also then says, well, we have 380 houses under contract. And so it's like the data of what's active versus pending isn't always the real story of what's going on in the market. Sometimes we use new construction as an example of that. Like if you
Yeah.
go to any of the new neighborhoods that are under construction now, they're moving dirt, and there are houses that are up, they're going vertical, they've got roofs on them, but at the same time, those houses are under contract already, or they're pre-sales, or they're homes that are not yet
Mm.
available, because with the the supply chain issues, a lot of those builders have been squeezed. They're not putting a price on houses until they're like moving ready, or maybe 30 days out. So there's a house sitting there, but it either already has somebody's name on it or it's not
Mm-hmm.
yet available, because that builder doesn't want to put a price tag of 400 on a house that it's going to cost him 400 to build. So he's going to
That's
wait
a
until
great
a certain point
point.
to then price that property based on, so his profit's not lost. People have been through that in the last year since COVID, and
Yes.
a lot of folks, and we've seen local builders that have broken contracts, that have raised the prices, that have changed the verbiage of their contract so that they can change the price, they can escalate it based on their cost. So all of that's changed. You need an agent that's experienced in that, working
That's
for you
true.
and advising you through those things. Because if you don't know any better, or you just show up to the on-site agent, they're going to be nice and they are friendly and they are some good friends of ours. But at
Yes.
the end of the day, they're not working for you. They're sold and representing that agent, or excuse me, that builder.
You know that I'm so glad you brought that up. We didn't talk. I'm so glad. I think having been in real estate, and that is the biggest misunderstanding of typically the general
Mhm.
public, that do not understand agency. Wouldn't you say?
It's common. Yeah, we have to
I
explain
mean, but and
a
that's
lot of times.
fine. I mean, all of us, as a business consultant, what business I work with all kind of, from carriage companies, flower companies, to executive engineering for, and everything in between. And we all talk in our company jargon and whatever you do, very well.
Yeah, yeah.
But outside of that, you don't, right? And you kind of are in it every day. If you're a printer, you know all about printing and magenta and cyan and whatever. And if I'm talking to somebody else, they have no idea. And I think people don't get that. So explain agency for the world at large.
Well, so I'll say, agency state by state is different. It can mean different things in
Very.
different places. So if you're not based in Huntsville, Alabama, or you have a question about that, consult a professional in that area. But
Yeah.
for
And we
us,
have so many people come from other places. So
we
that's
do.
an
And
excellent
Alabama is
point.
a caveat emptor state. It's a non-disclosure state, which a lot of people are
Yeah.
not used to. And so
Hmm.
that takes a certain level of understanding. And so what we like to do as a team, we prefer to represent our clients with full single agency. That means if you're a buyer, we represent you. We're your advocate, your partner. We're here to help you answer questions, advise you. And that's the difference. So with agency, we're on your side, we're on your team. and you have all of our resources and our experience backing you to help you make the right decision. Without agency, it's illegal for me to give you my opinion on what you should really do. And I have a hard time not doing that. Like if I'm sitting here with you, I'm going to say, this is what I think. And so without that level of representation in writing and a partnership already in place, we can't really do that. And it's just tough. And our clients want that. Our level of service and that whole concierge level thing that we live by, that's real. And that's just the way that we operate. So it's hard for us to work with a client and not advise them and guide them through and share with them our expertise. It's hard to do.
It is. Sense? I think so. It does to me. And I think, years ago when I was in real estate, I had a client who was just like, no, we don't, what we call, like a buyer's. I don't need that. And I'm like,
people still say that. I'll say
sometimes, and he was very hard headed. He knew more than I did, and of course, and then there came to be an issue, and it was like, well, you need to do this, and I was like, you didn't need me, remember? And now I legally I can't.
You make a good point. So like, we all have homeowners insurance, and you don't need it. It's a total waste of money until suddenly you do. And then all of a sudden it matters, and it matters more than anything else. And it's the same way with having proper representation. People think, I don't need that. That's a waste of money. I don't have insurance. Nothing's going to happen. I go home and my house is still standing. But then when that tornado rolls through town and it blows the roof off, you're going to go, wait a minute, what about our insurance? And so people call us many times that have problems. There's some challenge that they've run into. They've started working with a builder, and I hate to pick on builders. I don't mean to keep saying that. But they've run into an issue with a builder, and they say, hey, I need your help. Well, you needed to have called me 60 days ago when you entered that contract. Because after the fact, my hands are tied. I'm happy to sit down over coffee and talk through what you should do, but legally, I can't go to bat for you at all. It's too late.
Well, and it's like, they think of it as like going in a store and having a helpful person. And again, it's not that they're not helpful. It's just understanding the legality of it. It's just like getting a divorce. Well versed in this, a lawyer is representing one or the other. And, and like my good friend, Patty Demos, she could say, hey, y'all both agreed to this and we're going to sign this, but I'm representing her. Like you can't, and so I think that that's kind of the same way. It's like at the end of the day, that realtor is working for that,
that's called dual agency. Yeah. So let's talk about dual agency.
Kind of there is times when you do both. Yeah.
But so with dual agency in the state of Alabama, it is legal. In many states, it's legal. There are some states that it's not. But in many states, it's legal as long as all parties in the transaction agree to it, they understand and they sign off on it. It's like a disclosure. But in our team, we don't carry that practice. We don't like dual agency. If I sit down with you at the kitchen table and I list your house and you share with me your bottom line or your life circumstances or why you're moving or whatever, then it's hard for one person to represent both sides of the transaction. Because usually they have opposing goals. They want something different. They want more money off the price. The seller wants the most amount of money they can get. And it's just hard for everybody to feel like they were represented 110%. And so it's our internal team policy not to do that. So if one of our agents sits down with the seller and they list a property, when those unrepresented buyers call off the sign or one of our websites, then we don't represent that buyer. We either refer them to another member of the team or another agent within our office, and we try to keep that arm's length. It's just better. It's a better practice. It makes us more comfortable. It makes the clients more comfortable. It's just all in all, it eliminates that confusion. Because a lot of times people just are kind of confused. They think you're representing them 100%, and you're not. You're the neutral party in between.
It sort of kind of ties your hands about giving great advice. That is so
And the most
great.
amount of complaints that I hear when we sit down with clients, new people that have bought and sold real estate in the past, when we tell them that and we explain our process, 9 times out of 10, they go, I've run into that before. And you're right. It was weird. It was uncomfortable. I didn't like it. But they didn't
Yeah.
recognize that until they had gone through it. And
Oh
so
yeah.
that's just something that we just don't practice.
And you're right, as a real estate agent, it's a very uncomfortable position to be in, because you're trying to do two things, and that what a wonderful practice. Well, you do like to take care of your people.
That's a
So
big focus of ours always. Yeah.
being in business consulting and working with people and knowing people that I do have people come to me still who are like, I want to be in realtor. I'm like, no, not right now.
I
But
say all the time, I would love to write a course and teach a class on the pitfalls of real estate, the good and the bad. Because it's like right now, back to the market, people say it's a hot time, it's a beautiful market, I'm getting in, I'm going to be a millionaire and be a huge success. And it's like, okay, so there's 300 houses available. There's 4,000 active agents. Some of those 300 houses aren't really available. That's a fake statistic. They're already under
exactly.
contract. They're not yet available. And then it's like, what are you going to sell? There's nothing for you to sell. So it's just really hard. If you don't have an established group of people that you're already working with, or that you've known, or you're not on a team or with a company that really helps cultivate and train and bring you up from zero, because we all start at zero, then
Oh
how are
yeah.
you going to learn those things?
Well, they come to me every day, people, and whether it can be any business. When you are starting a business, and I always say people love whatever they're in, but it's like, okay, now what? And it's like, okay, start that sphere of influence, start that call,
Yeah,
start letting people know, start making a presence, start getting, I mean, it is all the time. So just on a business, just not necessarily real estate, what what advice would you give? Because although you work under a company umbrella in a way, you really are self-employed for the most part, and you
for
have been
sure.
for
Yeah.
years. What advice would you give entrepreneurs, business people?
Well,
How do
so
you stay in there?
I would say, when I first got my real estate license, like brand new baby Blake realtor, never sold a house before, one of my mentors said, Blake, there's always room at the top. And what they meant by that then, and it still applies today, is in real estate, especially 10% of the professionals do 90% of the business.
It's true.
And so if you execute your job well, and you take care of your people, and you give it your all, and you constantly learn and grow and focus on just becoming better as a whole, then you're going to inherently be good. You're going to rise above the crowd. You're going to learn and become stronger, and your weaknesses are going to become less, and your strengths are going to become more, and you're just going to become a better person. So that's not necessarily real estate advice, but I was told that, and it has carried with me. I remember it today, and it's true. It just is. If you cultivate the people around you to be better, and you're always open to growing and improving and just being the best version of yourself, then with that comes success.
I think you're right. I always tell business people what I call it is what you described as business karma. Um, it doesn't always happen as fast as maybe your Wolf of Wall Street types, right? But it has longevity. That if you're good to people, if you do the right thing, if you just keep working in that vein, it comes back. It comes
Well,
back
and
to you.
success means different things to different people. As a team, like we sit down every December and project our goals and look over our numbers and the statistics from the year prior. But
Mm-hmm.
then we also sit down individually and talk over what we want to accomplish in the whole next year. And sometimes for people, that's I want to make more money. I want to have a greater sales volume. I want to have less time in the office. I want to have more off time or whatever. But other times it's different. Sometimes people want to like go on a big family vacation, or they want to just spend more time at home with their family. we have, shout out to Katie Crawford. She works on our team. And this past year, she had a new baby. And she said, I don't want to raise my income this next year. I want to be able to stay at home and have a full maternity leave, enjoy that, lean into it, stay at home, and then come back to work. But I don't want to make more money necessarily, at least this year. My focus is on my family. And so each of our team members have different goals. And so we really do individualize those and kind of focus on what that means to that person.
I think it's so true. And I talk about in my practice with not only personalities, which each work differently, but motivate. We're all motivated differently.
Absolutely.
Some people are like the number, I got to make $1 million. I got to 2 million. And some people thrive on that. That's awesome. And some people, my coach, I love it. She was talking about her husband, and I'm the kind of the same way. How many people can I impact? How many lives do I impact? How many people are in houses? And whatever that number is, that number is. And different, like you said, family time or autonomy or whatever it is. So I think that is amazing. So I've been playing around here and showing people here at the bottom, you see how you can reach Blake. He has a full team of experts at KeyFindersGroup.com. Very easy to remember. And Blake at KeyFindersGroup.com is his email where you can reach him, ask questions for him anytime. Here is his cell phone number. It's very open. You can text him, call him. You can find him on Facebook. They have a wonderful Instagram page that I follow, and they have really cute.
We do our best. We do our best. And I'll say this too: we have a podcast that I'm not sure if you subscribe to, but we last year, about October, we started building content and creating topics and recording things as a team. We do that as a group. So follow us there as well. Subscribe. It's called Key Concepts. And you can get that on Spotify, Apple, any place that you listen and subscribe to podcast. We're available there too.
Wonderful. I love that. I want to please tell us about this coming up, Popsicles and
So that's
Pups.
one of our events. We do several events annually. We again, just try to spoil our people and keep in touch. We always say at the closing, it sounds cheesy, but you're not getting rid of us. This is not the end. It's the beginning, and we're going to call you and keep in touch. And this is just one way that we do that. So this is our annual summer event. It's called Popsicles and Pups. This is the first year we've had pups, so that's a change. But we always do popsicles in the park. Susie's Pops has signed on this year to help us with that. Wonderful. She's a local lady. If you've not had Susie's Pops, they're terrific. And we're going to give away free popsicles. We're going to be there at Butler Green. That is the City of Huntsville Park space between Straight to Ale and Yellowhammer. So it's that space in between.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
It is a great spot. It works really well. We did it there last year. And we're just going to be there from 10 to 12 noon. Butler Green, July 23rd is our date. And we'll have Mr. Fans and tents and popsicles and a bouncy house and everything in between. We're going to have a lot of fun. And then also a new leash on life is going to be there. So you can pet a puppy, hold a puppy, take a picture, just have a good time. So who doesn't love like puppies?
Take a puppy home forever, make them alive.
You could do that. No pressure. It's not a requirement, but you can just come and pet
Not a requirement, but if you wanted to be a nice person, if you want to
be available, and they would love that, I'm sure. Yeah.
If you're ready for that, that'd be great. Well, we thank you for being on here. Again, if you're watching the replay, you can get all this information. You can call Blake and he can set you up. Their team can work with you. We thank you for being here.
I'll say this, Cameron, I know you added my number and all. That is my direct cell phone number. So if you have a need ever, I don't hide behind a door. There's no veil over here. Like, I'm available to talk to you. If you have a real estate question, if you have a personal question, if you're thinking about real estate, I'd just love to be an asset and to be of service. So anything that you need.
I wasn't sure when you said personal question. I was like, oh.
Hey, people call all the time and they're like, I'm not really sure. Where do you get your haircut? What do you do for? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not sure. Let me pull that for you. So it's like we try to be a resource no matter what people need.
People move to a new city and they're not sure, where's a good steak, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
you're such a wonderful person. And I wanted to say before you leave that the one thing that I wanted to bring out, first of all, even as a real estate agent, and I know tons of real estate agents. Blake is who I chose to sell my own mother's house, so that sells something right there. And he is always calm. You're always calm. You're always just in the midst of the storm. And I think that, especially in this market, is what you really want. You want someone who's cool and collective. And I'm sure, I mean, we all know there's
Well, that's
times,
very,
but
that's a
it
big
is.
compliment. Our people need that. It's a
No,
stressful
they do.
time. And
When
so it's
you
our
are
job to
buying
help.
or selling the biggest thing of your life, and that's what I love about you, Blake, is that you're just, okay, let's take the next step. We know what we're doing. You keep your cool. And I think not everyone's like that. A lot of people get very hyper, and you always are like just a very centered, calm person. And I like that. I think that's very important for this.
Well, I'll say this, and that comes with experience, and it comes with also being okay with telling people you're not sure what to do next. A lot of the
Right.
team members here, they laugh at
Yes.
that because if somebody asks me a question, I'm like, I don't know. Let me check. I'll get back to you. And that's okay. People
Amen.
trust that. Instead of like faking an answer or making something up, just say, let me confirm that for you. And I will double check that what I think hasn't changed before I direct you in that path.
I was
And
just
so
talking
that's
to
a
a
big
business
part of
and I
what
was
we
like,
do.
yeah, I said in my plan, in my strategies, I want to teach people that I am not a fan of fake it till you make it. Oh, fake it till you make it. No. Huge fan of education, which you've had. And I'm like, if you don't know, say you don't know. Because the
Yeah.
worst thing you can do is make up something or fly by the seat of your pants and then have to come back and say, oh, well, that was completely wrong.
And that's not a good
Everybody.
partner.
No,
People
everybody
people hire us
respects.
because they want that help and they want that honesty.
And people respect. I'm not sure. I don't know, but I will get it for you. I would much rather hear that than blowing smoke up my dress. You have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you very much.
I know
I'm gonna
you're
get some of that
busy.
$5 wine.
$5 wine tonight. And Gary, I forgot his last name, but it's all the songs you love. My friend, your friend, Sherry Maxwell, and I think we're going to go down there and hear all the songs that we love. And a little Pinot Grigio. That's my.
Have a great
What's your
weekend.
number one wine, Blake? What's your number? What do you
Oh,
go
I like
for?
it all. I like it all. I like red, like full
Red.
body.
I feel
bulky,
like if you're an experienced
Cabernet.
wine drinker, you're red. If you're inexperienced or you're kind of a lightweight, it's white. That's how I feel like.
Well, I mean, it depends. When it's this hot outside, I want like tequila, and I want it on ice.
Hey,
So,
she has a whole set of
I'm probably oversharing at this point, but yeah.
Cut this part. If I had a team of people, we'd say this is. She has a whole set of margarita wines.
See, yeah,
and a prickly pear and lime and it's really nice. So see you down there. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
Oh, thank you. So we are, what a great podcast today. Please join us next Friday when I will have my good friend Jameson Charles from Special Touch Restoration. That'll be July 1st. So that's right before the holiday where people are, lighting firecrackers and blowing up their hands and stuff. You may need Special Touch Restoration. So that'll be good. That ends our show today. We're so glad that you joined us. Be safe. Have a great weekend. Have fun. Go see those boat races. See you next time.